Have you seen in the last couple of weeks how huge American chains like Penney, Sears and even Macy's are shutting down physical stores in the United States, blaming location perhaps, but maybe it is an explosion in e-commerce and these companies are finally catching up with the 21st century. This is Tonight. I'm Bruce Whitfield and let's see whether or not we're seeing similar trends in South Africa, where shopping centres continue to be built, where outlets continue to be developed. What's happening to the online shopping phenomenon in South Africa as Kalahari.com and Takealot merge under the Takealot brand? Joining me from Cape Town this evening, Sascha Breuss, who is the Managing Director of Zando. They sell lots of shoes online. And with me in Johannesburg is Nicola Cooper, who is a Senior Trend Analyst at Flux Trends. What's happening to the trends in online retail, Nicola?
Well, online retail is obviously an emerging market in Southern Africa and Africa in general. And a lot of it is because of convenience. We have less time to shop, but there are a few hiccups that are sort of stopping us from leaping as far as our sort of American or European counterparts.
A few hiccups, a few hindrances, a few small issues, yes, such as broadband, such as accessibility, such as the cost of going online and delivery.
And delivery, absolutely. So there's a huge trust issue that we have to overcome in Africa, given our delivery systems. And there are a few companies that are getting it very right, and there are a few companies that are struggling with that, sort of dealing with directly with the consumers and complaints. And there are a lot of logistics involved in online purchasing.
It's a fool's paradise to think it's as simple as you go onto a website, you click on the toaster of your choice, a message gets delivered to a warehouse somewhere in South Africa, and the next day it arrives. It's the way it should work. But in that process, there are 4,000 moving bits.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got to have a warehouse to stock things. You've got to have all of those relevant back-end elements in order to deliver seamlessly to your clients. And I think one of the sort of companies that's getting it so right is someone like Yuppiechef.
Well, they're tiny, and that's the advantage of being small. I spoke to the chief executive of Yuppiechef. I had him review Jeff Bezos's Amazon.com book, and he came back to me and he said, it's wonderful to know that Amazon.com and us have exactly the same problems.
Exactly.
The giant and the guppy, except Yuppiechef in the Christmas season hired 10 extra staff versus Amazon.com's 10,000 extra staff.
Absolutely.
So it's okay if you're small, but Kalahari.com and Takealot are merging. I recently spoke to Kim Reed.
Yes.
They bought Mr. Delivery in 2012 in order to try and get this delivery thing right. And even they're still struggling with the Mr. Delivery infrastructure there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is a huge counteractive element to online purchasing in Africa. And I think the back end, and I was recently at an e-commerce conference, that there are becoming secondary suppliers who will fuel the system, someone like Yuppiechef, and take the delivery aspect of it and focus just on consumer interaction and complaints and returns and things like that.
But how's Zando doing? You've heard of them?
Yes, of course. I often shop for shoes on Zando.
Are they any good?
Yes, they are. I mean, I think it's one of the good elements about Zando is they are, from a fashion perspective, really on the cusp of trends, and and it's easily interactive, and it's a sort of an available platform to the every woman.
Well, I'm delighted that you say so, because it would be embarrassing otherwise. Sascha Breuss, the Managing Director of Zando, in our Cape Town studio this evening. You've got Nicola Cooper's thumbs up, Sascha. How do you make it work where so many others are battling?
So yeah, first of all, thank you very much, Nicola, for that feedback. Another loyal customer, very, very happy to hear about that. I think the most important points were actually mentioned, and let me try to give some more context. So on the one hand, obviously we are a retailer. Everything is about product, so we are offering customer a broad choice of product, and that is ultimately one of the reasons why the customer goes online. At any point in time, we offer them 50 to 20,000 different products, and it's not only footwear, it's only apparel, it's beauty items, and it's just broad selection that we there bring to the South African market. The other point where you touched base on earlier is indeed it's logistics. and it's the operations. And yeah, Nicola outlined it. This is actually this is the deal breaker here, I think, and this is what a lot of companies are not yet understanding. It is not as easy as I click on the button, I order. For example, we at Zando, or our sister companies in Africa, Jumia, who are in Nigeria, Kenya, or also here in South Africa, what we are actually doing is that we are taking the supply chain in-house. So we own the supply chain, we have our own delivery fleet, we have our own drivers, we have our own customer service, everything in-house. And this is for us the only chance to really control this customer experience and then offer added services to the customer.
But that adds surely an enormous layer of cost. And there's still the perception in the mind of many consumers that online is cheaper, that you get the better deals online. That's not always true, is it, Sascha?
Not necessarily. So online price is always a very, very important aspect for the customer. But specifically, I think everywhere in the market you have to be price competitive. Is this online or offline? So the customer is very price sensitive. But for online shopping, there's actually, beside very, very often, that's true, a good price, you also have this really customer experience. So you can, on Zando here in South Africa, if you're Cape Town based, you can go to our website, you click, you shop something, and we deliver it to you within 3 hours. I think that's a service which it's a one-time thing, the 3-hour delivery in South Africa. We're overcoming the trust issue by offering cash on delivery. In all centers in South Africa, our customers can literally pay at the doorstep. What does it mean? That means that you, specifically the fashion customer, is turning the living room into the wardrobe. So everything you would like to see online, you order at home. We're doing the free deliveries, we're doing the free returns, and this is the additional customer convenience that online shopping can offer if executed correctly. Bringing these two aspects, to the customer convenience and price together, then I think that the future for online shopping is very bright.
Provided you, of course, as Zando, have got deep pockets, because do you make money delivering that level of service in a market as thinly traded as South Africa is online?
It's our company policy that we generally not make any comments on any financial KPIs.
Yeah, that's always the trick, isn't it? Because, I mean, nobody in the online environment likes to do it. So, Nicola Cooper, they are winning in terms of customer service, delivery and price.
Yes.
But it is going to be the guys who can last longest. Amazon.com doesn't pay a dividend. It doesn't make a huge profit because it continually invests. And it's been doing it for 20 years.
Yes.
Do online companies all face that same problem?
I think what they're starting to do, and there's a current trend called click and collect. So what you can actually do is purchase an item and it gets delivered to a sort of locker, and then you would
Macro's
go,
doing that.
Yes, Macro.
Massmart is doing that at Sasol service stations, I think.
Yes.
That's very clever. But if you want to deliver the superlative service that
Yes.
Zando is doing, that's expensive.
Yes, that's a cost that you would have to incur as a company, because it's it's part of the policy, and
Well,
it's
if you're
also
buying something as intimate as shoes, and
Yes.
people are very attached to their shoes for some reason, you want the experience is I order them at home. I want them to deliver to my home. I want to try them on in my home and pop them
Yes.
back in the box if they're not right. If I've got to go to a Sasol forecourt, nice forecourts,
Yes.
it takes away the romance of buying the shoes online.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been known to purchase many things online, and one of the companies I deal with literally delivers it to my desk with a beautiful satin bow and the tissue paper and everything
You're
else.
paying too much, Nicola. You're paying too much.
And that's, that I would pay for that service, one, because I don't have time to go in, and I'm always in front of my laptop researching, so it makes it easier for me. And I think it's also the idea of the pendulum swing from immediate satisfaction to, I'm going to wait for that perfect product.
Yeah.
I'll wait a week, or I'll wait a month if I want something delivered from overseas that is in essence what I really want, rather than just going out and fueling my need.
But the power or the desire, because impulse buying has got to be a big part of it. Sascha Breuss at Cape Town, when we look at the South African environment, how do you see it transforming, playing out? You're playing at the very cutting edge of efficiency. It is an expensive process, as Nicola confirms for us this evening. Can you sustain it?
Without any doubt. So from the aspect, yes, it is an expensive project, and yes, we invested a lot in our customer experience and logistics, but then compared to a brick and mortar store, I think we have just a completely different cost structure, right? If you look at the actual store rent, the property that you have to take care of, the staff, so on and so forth. So it's very hard to compare this one-on-one, so it's just a different cost structure. So in the long run, how do we see the development in Africa or generally? I'm very, very positive because e-commerce is developing very fast. It's catching up. We're experiencing a leapfrog, kind of a leapfrog process in Africa, where the customer is going very, very fast online. You have it. You mentioned some examples from the US or from Europe, where there was a slow transitions towards online. Nowadays, here in Africa, everything is a little bit faster. If you look at Nigeria, the traffic there is so bad that you rather go online and order online. Nicola's mentioning it's a time aspect. It's just a time aspect and the convenience, and that's what we see. So we expect that the online market is doubling for the next couple of years, probably every 2 or 3 years. And this is the potential, and this is what we're tapping into.
Sascha Breuss in Cape Town, the Managing Director of Zando. Thank you very much for joining us this evening and for your time. Nicola Cooper, just wrapping up with an observation that I made the other day with Kim Reid at Take A Lot. I said to him, so what are your targets? And I had to push him really hard, but eventually said, R1 billion a year in 5 years' time. That's the merged Kalahari Take A Lot business.
Yes.
Massmart today, with you going and parking and and getting trolleys, is doing 77 billion rands worth of turnover today. Online is minuscule and will stay that way for how long?
Well, I mean, I think one of the biggest facets that we have to acknowledge is that we have many rural areas where people don't have access to online or internet or computers. So I predict that many companies are going to go mobile, and you'd be able to purchase via mobile. I mean, if you look at Africa, it's said to be by 2015, the end of 2015, the largest mobile media market in the world. Now, if you're going to grow an online service, then that's the best way you can go.
And we must leave it there. My thanks to Sascha Breuss, who is the Managing Director of Zando, who are doing interesting things and fascinating things in the world of delivery, getting customer satisfaction up, and Nicola Cooper, who's a Senior Trend Analyst at Flux Trends. Thank you for both coming in, and thank you for watching. There'll be more tonight, tomorrow. Until then, good night and goodbye.